시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까. 오늘 좀 특별한 시간을 마련했습니다. 이스라엘의 석학 에이단 샤미르 박사님을 모시고 현재 중동 정세에 대해서 한번 인터뷰를 나눠보는 시간, 굉장히 소중한 시간을 제가 마련했는데요. 이 인터뷰는요, 주한 이스라엘 대사관의 협조로 저희가 인터뷰를 할 수 있게 되었습니다. 다시 한번 주한 이스라엘 대사관에 감사드리는 바이고요. 오늘 모시는 분은 에이단 샤미르 박사님입니다. 샤미르 박사님은 군사전략, 군사혁신, 그리고 지휘문화, 국가안보정책, 비정규전과 비국가 행위자 연구 등 군사 및 안보 분야에서 세계적인 석학으로 알려지신 분입니다. 우리나라에서도 이스라엘의 군사혁신이라는 책이 이미 번역돼서 출간되었을 정도로 우리나라에서 아주 잘 알려진 분입니다. 샤미르 박사님 모시겠습니다. Thank you to come our channel and giving us an interview.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
첫 번째 질문입니다. 질문이 뭐였냐면 2023년부터 시작된 하마스와의 전쟁이 아직도 끝나지 않은 상태인데요. 당시 세계 최강의 경보 시스템을 가지고 있는 이스라엘군이 기습을 허용한 이유가 도대체 무엇인가요?
Many people were surprised by this attack of Hamas and the lack of preparedness of the IDF at the day of the attack. And of course, I think there will be an ongoing inquiries as to what happened and why. But I think we can understand, we already have a certain level of understanding of the reason why the Hamas offensive was so successful. So the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, they did not anticipate the Hamas offensive, and they were wrong in two major areas. First, they were wrong about the Hamas intentions. Second, they were wrong about the Hamas capabilities. And when you have a mistake about intentions and capabilities, that's where you can be surprised, as we saw on the October 7th. So it was Hamas that had a deception plan, making the Israeli government and the Israeli intelligence believe after some rounds of violence, military clash with the IDF, that from there on it wants to calm the situation. And what it wants to focus on is to improve the life of the people in Gaza and to have more people from Gaza going out to work in Israel and to get the money that is coming from Qatar to pay for its people, so it can basically govern Gaza and improve the life of people in Gaza. That was the impression that Hamas was working on. It was a deception, because actually at the same time it was preparing its military offensive. The Israeli government and military, they had this impression, they bought it. So this was a successful deception of Hamas. What else was that even though the Israeli Defense Forces knew that Hamas is practicing offensive of Israeli villages, they did not understand that Hamas already is in a stage that where they feel that this plan to attack Israel is actually ready to be carried out. So going back to my previous point, the Israelis, they had a mistake on two levels: understanding the motivation of Hamas and understanding that Hamas already developed the capability to carry out such an elaborate offensive. For Israel, Hamas was the weakest opponent.
Yeah.
The major opponent was Hezbollah and the other proxies that Iran was building in Iran.
Yeah.
So when you decide how do you allocate your strategic resources, your intelligence, then you put it on the most dangerous, the strongest opponent. The impression that Israel had that Hamas doesn't have a motivation for war, is not going and preparing for war, and Gaza, in many ways, was neglected. Now, Hamas also chose a holiday to attack Israel, which meant also that a lot of the forces that were military forces that was on the border with Gaza, they were at home at the holiday vacation, which of course was the result of the assessment that Hamas is not going to do anything. Explain that when there is a military on the other side, for example, in the case of South Korea and North Korea, when you face a military of North Korea, it's a military. It has tanks, it has artillery, it has missiles. When they start to move, you see it by satellite, you see it by different sensors, observations, you see, and you can prepare. In the case of Hamas, these are like guerrilla terrorists. All the communication, because you know that Israelis are after the communication, so they were not using any phones. All the communication was word to mouth. So I tell you, I'm your commander, I tell you where to go, what to do by talking to you. Only to you, because I only trust you. I'm not going to send it by text message. I'm not going to talk on the radio, on the telephone, because the Israelis are listening. No transmissions, exactly. And so they did it in a very smart way. Only the top commanders, the Sinwar and other leaders, they knew about the date. Some Hamas knew that they are preparing for this because they prepared for 2-3 years. They prepared this plan. They were training. But when to do it, when there was the decision to do it, it was only a few people, and they told their subordinates. And then late at night, 1 or 2 a.m., they met at the mosque. And in the mosque, they told people to come to the mosque. Then they gave the orders. It was already 2 a.m. And then those people who came out of the mosque, they were organized by small units. And the guns, the RPG, the car, the motorcycle, everything they used is at home. And all you do is you open the garage and you go out with the Toyota, the pickup with the guns, the RPG, the explosive, and 5, 6, 8 people who lives next to you. It's your neighbors. They are the unit of Hamas. So the intelligence couldn't know when it is happening. They didn't. There were some signs. Like there were some phones that they opened up, but the signs, intelligence call it signs, you know. The signs were not strong enough to really, because what we call the concept was that Hamas is not going for a war, the strategic concept. So you tend to say, okay, but this is only a sign. Maybe they want, maybe there will be a local attack. You know,
it means it was not exact proof. Evidences.
Yes. The evidence were not strong enough that there is a all-out attack. The evidence showed that there is some activity. So that's why in the middle of the night there was a consultation between the chief of staff and the intelligence officers. I'm sorry, the intelligence officer was not there because he was on vacation. The head of he was also on vacation, but the head of operations and the southern commander, they were doing consultation, but they decided that they will meet again in the morning because there was nothing. This was a big mistake, which we still need to understand, but not to wake up the military, at least on those who are on the fence that are near the Gaza border, and to tell them, look, stay very alert. They didn't think it was strong enough, and they said, okay, we'll go to sleep, and we convene again in the morning in a few hours. But then in the morning, you know, at 6:30, the Hamas already started the attack. So. Okay. But I want to add short something which is important for your listeners to understand, that the distance, the geographic distance between where the line where Hamas was coming out from the houses to the fence, from the fence to the houses of Israeli is very short. It's 1-2 kilometers. That's all. At some point, 3 kilometers. So you can cover it with a motorcycle very quick.
There are perfect conditions for surprising attacks.
Yes.
Most Korean people doesn't know that.
Yes.
It's too short.
Very short.
하마스와의 전쟁에서 이스라엘의 전략 목표가 무엇이고 그 목표 달성에 근접했다고 보시는지요?
Israeli objectives of the war are very simple. One is to destroy Hamas military capabilities. Second, to make sure Hamas doesn't govern Gaza, to end its rule over Gaza, because if it rules over Gaza, it can rebuild its military capabilities. And the third is to free the hostages. So, do I believe that they're close to achieving results? Yes, I do believe that the Hamas military capabilities are gone. It cannot really threaten Israel. It has the ability to fight a guerrilla war in Gaza, to disrupt Israeli operations. We are very close now, I think, to the point of breaking Hamas in terms of its governance. We see now that it's losing control. And at what point exactly we can say that it doesn't control any longer? We'll see. It's not an exact point. It's a process, dynamic. And hopefully, if Hamas will accept the Witkoff proposal that is on the table, at some point, I think we will be able to release at least most of the hostages.
현재 인질들이 이미 대부분 사망한 것은 얘기가 있는데 어떻게 생각하시는지요?
I know this from the information that was released by Israel government and the Americans as well. So we have now 59 hostages. We have signs of life from 20 hostages. And maybe there are additional 1 or 2 or 3 that are alive. But these are the numbers that we know. Of course, with the war now is continuing, we have no guarantee that more hostages are not fortunately died either from the conditions that they are held or from the fighting, including the Israeli operation, the bombs that are falling around. So that may be a possibility that more hostages are dead, but this is the number that we know. That are alive. By the way, not all of them are Israeli citizens. There are still some foreigners that are held in Gaza.
시청자 여러분들의 구독과 좋아요는 영상 제작에 정말 큰 도움이 됩니다. 여러분들 부탁드리겠습니다. 구독과 좋아요. 하마스의 전쟁이 이렇게 길게 가는 이유는 네타냐후 총리의 개인적인 의지에 따른 것인가요? 즉, 자신의 정치적 위기를 전쟁을 통해 극복하려 한다고 보시나요?
It's a legitimate question that many people in Israel are asking this, especially the opposition. There is a strong opposition to the government before the war and also after the war, and some of them accuse the government, the prime minister, for prolonging the war because of his political survival, as you said. I tend not to believe it. I do think he wants what he calls total victory. Because once he gets it, once he achieves it, he can show this achievement, and then he can say, look, maybe I failed, and because October 7th happened under my watch, so I failed, but yet I corrected my failure, and here I delivered the victory. So it does serve him, of course, in terms of his political. I think he's not prolonging the war. He's just trying to get to the result that he promised that he's going to get.
만약 하마스와의 전쟁이 끝난다면 다음 차례는 헤즈볼라인가요?
Yes. So the simple answer here is no, because no, because Israel already had a campaign of Hezbollah. Hezbollah was crippled, not completely eliminated, but crippled. Very weak now. Iran is weak. Hezbollah is weak. There is an agreement with Lebanon. Israel is attacking continuously in Lebanon. Whenever it sees Hezbollah trying to get reorganized, Israel is already attacking them and killing them. On the one hand. On the other hand, Israel wants to give a chance to the positive forces in Lebanon, the Lebanon military and the Lebanon political government, the legitimate government, to get its act together and maybe put order to the country and maybe disarm Hezbollah and have one, like any normal state, they have one army with the Lebanese army. So I don't think Israel is going to attack more than what it is doing now.
후티 반군 역시 다음 이스라엘 공격 대상인가요?
Look, the Houthis are far away. They are a strategic nuisance, not a strategic threat, really. That they fire every now a missile. Of course, it's not good. Most of the time, the Israeli missile defense intercepting these missiles. But every now and then, one penetrates, like the one with Ben Gurion Airport, the international Israeli airport, and caused a stop on some of the international flights. But I don't think Israel will go for a campaign. Definitely, Israel will send again its air force to hit some Houthi targets, but it will not do much more than that.
이스라엘은 UAE와 바레인과 수교를 했는데요. 하마스와의 전쟁이 끝난다면 다시 사우디와 수교를 진행할 건가요?
As we know from the documents we captured in Gaza, that part of the reason Hamas went to this offensive, October 7th, was to intercept the coming Israeli-Saudi normalization, that it believed that is going to pose a threat on what they call the resistance, you know, because Saudi is such an important country in the Islamic world.
Yeah.
I think the Saudis would like to go back to relations with Israel, and Israel, of course, would like to go back, and I think this is the way forward. But as long as the war in Gaza continues, it's not possible. So we'll have to end the war. I think the Saudis would like to see some Israeli declarations at least, or even a little bit more than declarations, something that Israel will do concerning the Palestinian issue.
Yeah.
Overall, they are very interested in going back to the path of normalization, of forming relations with Israel.
아까 이란이 많이 약해졌다고 했거든요. 근데 그래도 향후 이란과의 군사적 충돌이 계속될 것으로 보시는지, 왜냐하면 이란과 별도 몇 차례 미사일을 주고받았기 때문에, 만약 그렇다면 이스라엘의 기본 전략은 무엇인가요?
Yes, so I believe if the negotiation now with Iran will not come out in a way that Israel will be satisfied, and which means that Iran will stop enriching uranium and will continue with its nuclear program, then Israel will probably act against it, which means that there might be a war between Israel and Iran in the future. I think this war will be mostly, now that the Iranian proxies are not so effective, not Hamas, not Hezbollah, what they had built on Israel border for so long, it doesn't exist anymore. So it will be like what we saw before, Iran sending ballistic missiles and drones, and Israel sending its air force, and exchange of blows. But for Israel, the most important thing will be really to destroy the Iranian nuclear facility. Yes, how much this war is going to escalate, it's a big question. In essence, Israel can do a lot of harm to Iran. It can bomb its oil facilities, so it can do a strategic damage to Iran much more than Iran can do to Israel.
조금 전 들어온 속보로 시작을 하겠습니다. 이스라엘 공군이 이란을 공습했다는 속보가 조금 전에 들어왔습니다.
2022년 러시아 우크라이나 전쟁 이후에 전란의 시대가 시작이 됐습니다. 즉 유럽에서 중동으로 전란이 확산되었고, 최근 인도 파키스탄의 무력 충돌로 전란은 계속 동쪽으로 이동 중에 있습니다. 따라서 다음은 동아시아와 극동아시아의 차례가 될지도 모르는데, 박사님께서는 어떻게 생각하시는지요?
So, the famous Israeli writer Yuval Noah Harari, I know his books are also translated to Korean.
네.
He said that in his first book, that the human race has finished the era of wars and can deal also easily with pandemics are not more threat. And then we had Corona and we had wars. I think he was right that it looks different today because we have better tools to deal with it. But yet I think he was too optimistic in his predictions. And obviously today we see a lot of crisis that leads also to war between major countries. And this is correct. We always had wars, but this was more in the periphery. And now it's because of the peer-to-peer, what they call peer-to-peer competition between the great powers and major countries. It becomes more prevalent and and there is a proliferation of wars, as you rightly said. We have crisis area here as well. Of course, the South Asian Sea. Taiwan. We have one here in Korea. Whether they can develop into an open war, I think there is a better probability now. It's true that the probability that there will be some miscalculation or escalation due to some kind of a crisis, it is there, and the risk is higher.
현재 중국은 이스라엘의 적대적인 중동의 몇몇 국가들과 매우 긴밀한 군사 협력을 하고 있는데요. 이스라엘의 전략 관점에서 중국은 어떤 상대인가요?
So for a very long time, when China was rising and started to invest and to get more involved in the Middle East, also in Israel, the perception of China was very, very positive in Israel. It was seen as its involvement was seen as very positive. The Chinese were not very much involved in politics. They mainly came to do business. They were trying to be neutral as possible between the Israeli-Arab conflict. Of course, they were siding with some of the traditional Arab positions, but overall, they were, supporting also Israel in many ways, or at least doing business with Israel. This dramatically changed after 7th of October. First of all, it was clear that Israel is in the American camp. And if the American camp, the Americans are seeing Chinese as rivals, then Israel's loyalty lies with the US, as the US loyalty lies with Israel. And moreover, the Chinese also, they had a choice who they are going to support, and not only on the political, cynical political game, but they have not even expressed remorse about, condolences, sympathy, even on the human level. And I think this distanced themselves very much from the Israeli public. And although, Chinese cars are still popular, electric Chinese cars are still popular in Israel, but I think there is a very high suspicion among both the government and the Israeli public in terms of Chinese intentions. So there is a shift in the attitudes after October 7th towards the Chinese.
이스라엘과 한국 간 군사 협력의 올바른 방향은 무엇이라고 생각하시는지요?
So I think both Israel and Korea, they have an advanced military industry, advanced technology, and they can benefit from each other. The challenges, the military challenges, a lot of them are very similar. So, for example, the knowledge that Israel acquired during its fight against the tunnels of Hamas, knowledge regarding how to deal with drone warfare, how to deal with cyber warfare, most of all probably missile defense. Now Israel, it was publicized that Israel was using the laser technology to intercept Hezbollah's drones. So I think some of the military challenges are very similar. So there's a lot of room to work together on these problems, to exchange technology, exchange lessons learned from this. So I see a lot of room for cooperation between the two countries on these issues.
안보 전문가로서 우리 한국 국민들에게 해주고 싶은 말씀 있으시면 하나만.
Yeah, so I want to be very modest as I'm not familiar enough with all the exact situation that the Koreans are facing. I think what is important from our experience and elaborate to in a general way is, first of all, not to underestimate your opponent, to be ready, to be united, to understand what are you fighting for, and it's important to understand that you're fighting for your freedom and democracy that you have, and it's something which you have to cherish, and it's not something that comes easy. So I think all these things together, if you are ready, if you are united in pursuing the same goal, understand why you're fighting for. And don't underestimating your rival. I think that you're in a good position as a starting point.
예, 마지막 말씀이 가장 진짜 뼈를 때리네요. Thank you for your interview today. Very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for hosting me. It was a pleasure, a great pleasure, and an honor.
오늘 제가 세계적인 석학 이스라엘의 에이단 샤미르 박사님을 모시고 인터뷰를 진행해봤습니다. 이거 시간이 많았다면 조금 더 심도 있는 얘기를 해봐야 되는데 이게 여러 가지로 좀 제약이 있네요. 그럼에도 불구하고 우리가 생각할 수 있는 여러 가지를 말씀해 주신 것 같습니다. 다음 시간에 더 좋은 내용으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다.